Hi, Carl.
Hi, Astrid.
Today, we want to chat a bit about where you should put your content on your content management website. Um, can you explain to me why this is important? Why can you not just put your content anywhere on your website on the back end?
Well, I suppose you can think about throwing all your household content into a box and just keeping it in the garage. It's just not a good idea. Uh, at the end of the day, you want to know where things are, your team wants to know where things are, and the best way to know where things are is to actually have, well, let's say smaller boxes with labels on them, and people can actually see what's in those boxes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Right. So we mustn't just put our content just anywhere, not in our house, and also not in our website on the back end. So how does one go about doing that?
So if you think about the way that Plone works, it is essentially a file management structure. You can have folders with subfolders and structure the content accordingly. So you can start with your top level folders, and then in that you can even just become a little bit more granular in what the subfolders look like as well.
So is it a little bit like a table of contents of a book, for example, maybe an academic book that has a detailed table of content with different chapters and sub-chapters with hierarchy?
I think it would probably be almost exactly like that, because your hierarchy would be the depth of a folder inside the structure.
Okay, that makes sense.
Do you want me to give you or to show you?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me just share my screen. So
Great.
if you have a look at the top level items here, most of them, barring your users tab, which is private at this point, are all folders that can contain items. The best way to always find anything is to go to your contents tab. If you click on contents, you'll see it actually shows you the contents, even the little hidden folder that I've got for little odds and ends is shown here. And then when you click into a folder, you can actually see the items that are placed in that as well. If we go back up, click on another one, you'll see it's actually got even different folders in there. And those have got pages in there. So
So,
it means that you can quickly click around and see the hierarchy, and it shows it to you in a little breadcrumb format as well.
sorry to interrupt. So every folder that is in blue means that that's clickable and there's stuff underneath there. There's a hierarchy underneath that. But the ones that are not blue are not clickable. That's like the end of the line.
So it will indicate to you what the item is when you hover over it. So that would be a document. But yes, folders are just that. They are folderish, so they can contain more items. You might have other content types that are also folderish, depending on which projects you're working on. But by default, the folder is generally just that. It is a folder.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that very nicely explains it. Something to keep in mind when you do add items and you do not add them in the right place, Plone actually makes it quite easy to move stuff around between folders as well. So there is it's grayed out at this point, but there's a cut, a copy, and a paste item or option. I always strongly advise against copying, because copy inevitably means duplication, which means you always have a different version of something. And as you and I have spoken about in the past, single source of truth is very important. So I always cut, because that means moving something rather than duplicating something.
But then you obviously need to remember to paste it. But yes,
Exactly.
if you copy and paste, you in the end you don't know, I'm sure, which one is the one that's actually the one that you want in the place where you want it.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So as easy as just selecting it, cutting it, and then navigating to where you want to paste it and pasting it there.
Okay. Talk a bit about the site workspace folder that you showed just now. What is that?
So site workspace has, in Juizi history, kind of become a folder that we introduce to clients as a little space for odds and ends. So something that contains all your images, something that maybe has a couple of items that only get displayed on the home page, for instance. There's no one definition for each client. It kind of becomes something different, but it just means that if you I know it sounds very strange, but if you cannot find it anywhere else, it's probably inside workspace. But it just becomes kind of a way to neaten up. Otherwise you're going to end up in the root of your website with those, let's say, 2, 3, 4 items just laying there. So it's just a little catch-all space that we have for clients to use.
Is it like that bowl next to your front door with all the bits and pieces in it?
Yes. You'll probably find that my car keys, when I cannot find them, I will find them in a site workspace somewhere.
All right, so it looks like it's pretty easy to do and to maintain. One just has to remain consistent.
Yes, yes.
So what happens if you don't?
You know what, from experience, what happens when you don't? Things just become very messy. I think what we always need to remember is that at the end of the day, you are human, your team is human, and the people that maybe will be working with you or taking over the site in 2 years, they're also human. So they will always need context, and your structure is essentially built in context. So people want to know immediately where things are. So when things become too messy, it becomes difficult to manage. And that just becomes problematic for all parties.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. Thank you for explaining it.
It's a pleasure. And then, yeah, please keep the Juizi site nice and tidy.
Will do. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.